Welcome to another video. Today I want to talk about the Fellow Atmos canister, the manual version that I owned for quite some time. And well, I sold it after 4 years of usage, at least a small version. I also had bigger versions that I got rid of earlier. And I want to talk about the pros, the cons, what I liked about it, and also why I basically sold them. So the first thing is I saw this back then on the Fellow Atmos the first time in a video of James Hoffman, where he did a comparison about different vacuum canisters, different solutions. I think he probably also did some testing. He already did that back in the days. And the Atmos was really high on this list, so it sounded really nice. Then the next thing was, of course, it was easy to get. Back then, I just walked into a Viennese coffee, specialty coffee. They sold them there, so it was rather easy. Because nowadays, sometimes I feel like some of the coffee gear, you have to order it online. You cannot really see it in person, already try it out before. I prefer that actually to online shopping. And I think the important question also that I answered in a different video already did, but I will show it right away now here also. How much coffee do you even fit in one of those canisters? And for the 0.4 version, that the one I owned the longest, you can fit up to, 150 grams of coffee. Maybe sometimes it's a little bit more, maybe it's even a little bit less, but around that ballpark. Maybe if you really go further up, you could fit a little bit more. Basically, the thing is, it depends on the bean size. If you have small, light roasted beans, then it fits a little bit more. And if you have dark roast, big beans, depends, then it's maybe a little bit less. And that also basically brings me to the reason why I sold it. It is mainly two factors for me. It was the size and the convenience. First of all, the size. So the size of the canister itself is still quite big, even the 0.3 version. It's not high, but it's bulky. It has the mechanism included, but that one is actually fitted in the top part really nicely. But I feel like it overall it is a little bit too bulky. It takes a lot of space in your counter or your coffee storage, wherever you store it. And this, at the same time, only fitting 150 grams. This is also, of course, especially problematic since even now, back then it was 250 grams was the standard. Now, sometimes you get only 200 grams of coffee. If you get less than that, it's usually just special editions or something, or some geishas. But usually it's 200 grams at least. So you would not fit everything. And even if you just open the bag, make yourself a filter coffee with, let's say, with 20 grams of coffee, you'd still have 170 or no, 180. Yeah, maths, my strong suit, as you can see. So that's still 30 grams you cannot fit. That needs to go somewhere else. You could just leave them at the bag, of course, for 2 days. But then why would you buy a really expensive canister if you cannot fit all the coffee? Of course, you could now say, buy the bigger one, get the 0.7 or I think even the 1.2 liters. In this case, I think 1.2 liters was the biggest size back then. That one was overshooting because then it's too much space because 250 grams would easily fit there. And the 0.7 only went up a small margin as far as I remember, because I also owned that one. And the bigger issue was for me with that version, so the 0.7, it is even more bulky and was, not ideal. And another thing was the mechanism. As much as I really love that mechanism because it's included, because again, when you watch this video back then from James Hoffman, other vacuum solutions had extra pumps somewhere or extra things you would have lying around. I would not like that because I'm not losing it, but I don't like stuff lying around or searching it in some drawer. So basically this combination, it was really neat, it was really nice, but at the same time it was a little bit annoying to work with. It is I mean, the first year is still fun, I feel, especially if you only do it a few times a day, you know, like this twisting thing. But eventually, especially if there's not much coffee in it and you need to pump out all that air, it gets old real quick, especially after many years of usage. And this is just, you know, I think it's a good thing about the design, but at the same time, a little bit of a bad thing if you have to do it manually. But yeah, they have an electric version now, so maybe something to think about. There's also another point of that. So there is, it loses pressure. So if you leave it at home and you're out for 3 days, just over the weekend, or maybe you don't make much coffee during the week because you're in the office, and it just sits there at home because maybe in the morning you don't make your coffee and at night it's already too late. So it just sits there. And then eventually you have to manually re-vacuum it. It will lose pressure over time, which is also a little bit of an annoyance for me. Yeah, having a canister. I mean, of course, it probably makes sense just the way it is built. So I guess it's a technical limitation. But again, it really doesn't help the canister, because other things, if I would just put it in a bag, well, you don't have to do that. Then, of course, it will also not be in vacuum sealed. So there's that, of course. But just, I don't want to be just hating on this canister. I mean, there's a reason why I kept it for 4 years. And that reason is it really looks very, very pretty. It's very beautifully made, like many Fellow products, I feel. Also, at the same time, it's not just pretty to look at, it is really thought through. The mechanism, you gotta like it, maybe you get annoyed by it, it loses pressure, but still it is practical to have one thing that you just put there and you can, you know, just handle it and have your coffee beans in there. So this is really something, yeah, to keep in mind in this place. But of course, the reason I'm also I could let go of this is, first of all, I still got a really nice price for it. So when I sold it, I didn't lose that much money. I mean, I kept the original packaging. That's always helpful. So if you ever not sure if you want to keep something, even after 4 years, maybe it's nice to put, the original packaging in your basement, just to be sure. Everyone likes to have an original packaging. But what I replaced it with is also a neat solution, which I'll show you now. It's here, hidden down there. It's basically those fried heads from the roaster, from the Amsterdam roaster. They sell their coffee beans in these canisters. There's plastic canisters, and I have different ones. So another one from a different roaster. And here, yeah, first of all, I can fit 250 grams easily in here, maybe even more. Well, probably not, but 250 easily. Another cool thing is I put these labels on here, which are whiteboard foil, and then I can write with whiteboard markers on it, and then, you know, it tells me how much grams there is. I mean, I still have a coffee tracker app as well, but at least at the beginning it gives me some idea how much is here or how much I put in other places. And yeah, this can be easily erased, and then, you know, I always know what's inside. Of course, this can be done. Let's put those down. This can be done, of course, also with Fellow Atmos canisters. You could still put a whiteboard foil there as well, or maybe even write on it if you know. Well, no, probably. Yeah, the white one you could write on probably. Question is if it really gets off. But I'm thinking with the Fellow Atmos, there is now an electrical version I learned recently. It's actually quite old. So I do feel a lot of the things I didn't like about it, the manual twisting, and also that it loses pressure, this would be very much solved, I feel. So I'm actually, again, if I could just look at them in local coffee shops, but as far as I know, I didn't see it yet. I would probably bought it already just because I really like it. Then I would get the bigger version, because then, you know, if you don't have to manually pump out the air, it's rather convenient. But now I want to know from you, what's your coffee storage solution? Do you agree with my points, or do you think that I just didn't understand the original Atmos coffee canister, which could be, of course, the case. Or maybe you think that storing them just in normal plastic canisters is really a bad idea. I probably shouldn't tell you now how long I keep my coffee there. It's definitely for quite some time, and I'm still happy the way they taste because they are, you know, they're still nice. But yeah, let me know in the comments how you like to store your coffee. Do you just put them in the normal bag, or do you have some other canister solutions? I mean, the Fellow Atmos, when I bought it, that was in 2020, so that already is a long time ago, and I feel the coffee market really moved on. There's a lot of innovation, so maybe there's something out there that I don't know and you really like. So yeah, let me know. And yeah, thank you for watching, and see you next time.